Hey YouTube, welcome back to Universe X. And this week, with the massive drop of set 12 cards, we have a lot to go over. So this whole week we're going to be focusing on set 12. I believe there are going to be some new spoilers starting on the 7th, I think. I gotta check to check my sources in that, but we're going to get a lot of stuff to go over. Past that, it's just it's absolute madness. I'm going to have another Rogue series set up this week, deck that some people may have a little fond space in their hearts for. But that being said, I've gone over the first looks of all of the stuff that they released except the card lists just on the channel. All 3 videos are up. You can check out the links to those in the description. I'm choosing black for this video to go over first because the people in my Discord chose black to be first. I gave them yellow or red or black, and they chose black. So we're definitely gonna hit that up first. Stemming from this, there's gonna be some other things we do, maybe some little deck builds we're gonna go into, and there's just gonna be a lot of fun. Past that, the link to the Discord is down in the description, and if you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, think of not doing it because it is the largest forum for things like that. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff planned this week. So in black, in Vicious Rejuvenation, first off, we got Son Goku and Vegeta because we definitely needed another one of these cards. Yeah. But there are Son Goku Xeno and Vegeta Xeno. Once per turn, when you play a battle card using Union Fusion skill, draw 1 card. Auto, when this card attacks, draw 1 card and then add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. Okay, so automatically you're seeing that's a +2 leader, +2 leader, and it's going to, we talked about this earlier in the other video, because these fusions work a little differently. They're not negging from your hand, they're coming from the warp, which you'll see later. This is going to be a break even for its Union Fusion skill. Once per turn, send up to 5 cards from the top of your deck to your warp. And when your life is at 4 or less, you may draw 1 card, switch up to one of your energy active mode, flip this card over. Okay, so we're gonna flip it over. And you've got Gogeta Faithful Fusion. Same first skill, when you unison once per turn, when you Union Fusion, you're going to draw 1 card. And still, when this card attacks, draw 1 card, and then you can send up to the top 5 cards from your deck to your warp. Cool. Activate main once per turn. Add 1 card from your life to your hand. Choose up to 2 of your black battle cards with an energy cost of 1, and they get 10,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. Okay. So. There's a couple things here that we can already kind of glean just looking at the card right off the bat. This is not just a leader for long games. If your deck is at 50, after drawing your first hand of 6 and putting 8 cards into your life, you are now sitting 14 cards out, meaning you only have 36 cards left, meaning that you can only use his Warp 5 effect a maximum of, not even a maximum, like I think it's, if it's once per turn, you are going to be able to use it, I think 5 times in a game, max, I believe. And this is if nothing in your deck helps accelerate you. I believe just off of the, if you were to swing every turn, you can get 5 times 5. Yeah, I believe 5 times is pretty much the max amount of times you can use this. And then, once you're on his backside, you can only use his skill 3 times, if that, 3 times at a maximum. So this is not a long deck leader. It's just not. His effects are not really going to give you that longevity. However, it's kind of weird because off the rip, with cards like Dormant going around, it's kind of hard to see a deck work on 1-drops because there's a high probability they can be wiped off the board before they even get to connect. So I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of weird looking at this, but we're gonna move on. The Warp 5 is very important because, like I said, you fuse from the warp with his particular chain, so you can feel that. And because it's worded the way it is, if I'm not mistaken, you can check and then warp and then check and then warp up to 5 times. So if you see that Vegeta and Goku, you may want to stop just so you can do that. Let us check the next one though. Then you've got, let me flip this over, you've got Shroom and Salsa, the next leader. Auto, when this card attacks, you draw 1 card. Cool. Once per turn, when this card is in battle, when you use a black battle card in the combo, your opponent sends 1 battle card from the drop area to your warp, and if there are no battle cards in your opponent's drop area, draw 1 card. And then when you're at 4 or less, you draw a card, untapped energy. So this is actually really, really cool. This card is going to allow you to just try to just slowly pick away at your opponent's graveyard, and you're going to see the rest of this particular theme does that as well. So if you're a Dark Broly player like myself, you're going to probably feel a little bit because they can start pinpointing some of your cards. I mean, you have a lot of ways to bring them back, especially if you build it, I feel like, correctly. And if you want to see that build, might as well put that link in the description too, because I love Dark Broly builds. But this is going to allow you to try to pick away at that. And if your opponent doesn't have any battle cards, you're going to draw 2 anyway. Now, the whole thing though is that this doesn't have self-awakening like the other leader, so you're gonna have to work that in the deck. When he flips over though, he's gonna gain some new things. You're still going to be able to get that draw 2 effect. You can warp a battle card, and if they don't have any battle cards in the grave, you draw another one, so potentially a draw 2 on swing. If you combo. So really, it's kind of a draw 1, draw 2, but you're breaking even on that second draw because you had to combo card to get the effect. Now, activate main once per turn for 1 energy. If there are no battle cards in your opponent's drop area, choose up to 1 black evil wizard, demon realm race, or demon god card. The energy cost of 2 or less in your deck or hand, play it, then shuffle your deck if you look through it. I'm going to say it's cool because if I'm not mistaken, you can play 2-drop Mechagabora and just call something. That's going to be a crazy play. But the thing I don't like is that your opponent, since it's activate main, that's cool. You can start off a turn with it. But this second ability really has a lot. Like, actually, all of its abilities really have a lot to do with if your opponent has no battle cards in grave. And in some decks, that's going to be easier than others. I know personally my Dark Broly deck, between gravies, between human extinctions, you know, that's probably gonna be hard. You know, in a Veggings deck, I don't think you're ever going to warp more than Veggings can put in. So I feel like if you ever face black, this could just feel like a vanilla leader for the most part, and that's never a good feeling. So we're gonna move on. I got a Unison. Pycon, the savior from another time. I will never call this man Pykuhan. Okay, I'll just call him Pykuhan. Bandai noticed me. This card cannot attack if it has 2 or few markers on it. I hate this effect, but since these guys be coming out for free sometimes and they come out with 1 energy sometimes, you have to do it. Now, activate main, choose up to 1 of your, or 2 of your black battle cards with energy cost of 1, they get plus 10,000 power again. So once again, we're buffing 1-drops. And then -3, activate main, play 1 black battle card with energy cost of 6 and the Union Fusion skill from your drop area or warp. So because it's drop area or warp, you'll be able to play this guy from wherever, whenever. There's no just getting around that, and that's nice. I do like the flavor because once again, he will be stalling for a Gogeta card. He's boosting Goku and Vegeta, but he can also just cheese out a Gogeta. He's a super rare. I also don't know how I feel about that. I feel like that's a weird slot for it, especially when I'm not sure if the deck is actually going to take off. But, I mean, he's definitely going to pump them for his +1. I kind of feel like I like the Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. more for that, but his -3 is the thing that maybe can push him over. Next card, Deborah, Dimensional Meddler. He is going to have a once per turn when you use a black card in a combo, add a marker to this card, and he gets plus 5,000 for the turn. Now, this is neat because once per turn means, of course, you can do it on your turn once when you swing, but you can also do it on your opponent's turn, making this guy give himself some pseudo protection. If they don't swing at the Unison first, basically if they swing anywhere but the Unison, you're going to have to deal with a Deborah that's 15k for the rest of the turn. So that's pretty cool. And he's going to go up markers. So that's actually pretty crazy. The only unfortunate part about this is, once again, it gives your opponent the ability to choose the better play. And you can just start swinging on Deborah and they will never get this effect off. He'll just be 10k, and chances are you played him for 1 or 2, and so he's going to die pretty quickly. His +0 is activate main. If your leader card is a black demon race card, send 1 card, battle card from your opponent's drop area to their warp. So more graveyard meddling, but it doesn't necessarily affect all the decks. Then -4, activate main, play 2 black evil wizard, demon race, or demon god cards with different character names, energy cost of 2 from your deck or drop area, then shuffle. His -4 is great, but without a +1, even though his +2 can activate on either turn, or his auto can activate on either turn, it's an auto that you can kind of dance around. And so that's kind of dangerous. It's really probably going to add 1 on your turn, and then your opponent, if they're smart, is just not going to add any on their turn. So there's that. And this next one, Toa Dimensional Meddler. Rejuvenate. Cool. Once per turn, if your life is at 3 or less and you remove 5 markers from this card, place one card under this card into your owner's drop area, and pay the skill cost. Place the top card of your deck into your life. +1, activate main. You may choose one card in your hand, discard it if you do want the card. Okay, its +1 is super basic, but it's got Rejuvenate on it. I feel like this is going to come more into play next set when we get a Rejuvenate Black Leader, but for now, 5 markers is kind of hefty. This guy is 10k, no way to really protect it. I don't think it's getting to 5 markers, not gonna lie. But you know, it's the first of a set. They always kind of have to undertune certain effects sometimes. Now we're gonna go into the Goku cards, and the Vegeta cards are gonna go into these Gojitas. Son Goku, Catastrophic Premonition, unique and double strike. Auto once per turn. When your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand using a non-leader skill, this card gains plus 10,000 power until the end of your next turn. Cool. So your opponent draws off a super combo, it's getting this. Your opponent searches a card, this is going to work. So this is actually pretty cool. Chances are, because of what this card does, it's going to be getting its effect on your opponent's turn. But because it's once per turn, yes, if your opponent does draw a card on their turn, and then later, I don't know, they get a card on their turn, they can't get this one drop off the board, this will be a 25,000 one drop. And because this is end of the next turn, they do have a chance to draw one more time to make it a 35k. Now, I don't really think anybody's gonna feed into it that much, but you can. So that's actually pretty cool. Then moving down, you've got Son Goku, True Fighting Spirit. This guy has Deflect. So you're gonna have options to bring off that Pycon to be able to not be messed up by pesky counterplays. Add 1 card to your, from your life to your hand. When this card attacks, it gains 10,000 power per turn, so making it a 15k. Once per turn, if your leader card is a black sand, when your opponent activates a counter skill, they choose 1 card in their hand and send it to the warp. This is actually pretty cool, because when you're about to go for game, or you have that, you know, just the when you're trying to press with anything that you know is gonna be crucial, having this guy on board is gonna not stop your opponent from defending themselves, but it's gonna hurt a little bit, make it hurt a little bit more. It's going to the warps, it's not as accessible as from the grave, but they get to choose. It's a weird mid effect. It's not really powerful, but it's not like terrible. Just oof. Then you've got a Super Saiyan 3 Gohan. Now, Marvelous Might. This is gonna be kind of weird because the archetype is gonna take a shift in a weird direction. Unique permanent. If your leader card is a black sand card, you have more than 3 energy, that's a lot of stipulations already. If there are 15 or more cards in your drop area, yeah, this card gains 11,000 power and double strike during your turn. So that's a lot. By the time you get to 3 energy, your opponent may not really care about 15Ks. Chances are in this format, they're awakened already, and you're kind of getting to the odd parts of the game. Now, it's great this guy comes out for 1, but there's just a lot of stuff. And with decks having more graveyard hate than ever so far from what we've seen in this black, I'm not sure how often this is going to get out. But we're going to come back to this. Son Gohan, Catastrophic Premonition. If your leader card is a black sand card, when this card is sent from your drop area to your warp by a skill, place this card at the bottom of your deck from your warp. Okay, so if it's ever sent to your warp from your drop area, you just put it at the bottom of your deck, kind of renewing some of your cards. Activate main. If your leader card is a black sand card, you may send this card from your drop area to your warp and choose one of your black unison cards. Place it in its owner's drop area. Draw 1 card and you can't activate this. Okay, so this is actually kind of interesting too. If this is sent from your drop area to your warp, you can choose one of your black unison cards, sack it. So I mean, I assume you just swing with it, and then if you warp this card via Overwhelm, you know, or the future effects we're going to talk about, you're going to be able to put one of your unisons in grave. Chances are it can attack, and you're just going to draw 1 card. It seems like a lot to drop a unison for this. However, sometimes those unisons are expendable, and you just want it on and off the field. So it's kind of weird. Like if it's at 1 energy and you know it's about to die anyway, and you don't care about, you know, the damage being sucked up, you might as well just like get a draw off of it. But this is a very awkward card to me. The next card we're going to talk about, Son Gohan Brainy Backup, generic super combo, I guess just for draft purposes, is what it is. Next one, Vegeta Catastrophic Premonition. This one's in line with the Goku, unique and critical. Once per turn, when your opponent plays a battle card with energy cost greater than their energy using a skill, this card gains 10,000. Now, if you put this on board, there's a high chance that your opponent will trigger this, maybe even twice a turn. However, at the same time, you look at some of the best cards in the game right now that get cheated out early, and you're looking at Gotenks on 2 energy, who will blow it up. You're looking at Deborah, who will warp it. You're looking at Mass Sand, Uncontrollable Rampage. I believe that's his name, the SR Dark Broly. Dark Broly, yeah, I said Mass Sand. It'll warp it. So a lot of the cards that are getting cheated out that would trigger its effect will warp it, and that's kind of horrible for the archetype. Vegeta, True Fighting Spirit. So this one's cool. He's got Deflect. He can swing and add a life to your hand, but once per turn, if your leader card is black, as a Black Sand card, when your opponent switches their active energy, energy to active mode using a non-awakened skill, they choose one card in their hands into the warp. Okay, this card is wonderful, and if we didn't already have the Gohan, I would say from draft box, I would say this card is absolutely perfect. Yeah, I think that's crazy. I think this is actually pretty good. It just adds more options for black to combat blue, TBH. Then you've got SS3 Trunks Marvelous Might. Unique, permanent. If your leader card is Black Sand card and you have 3 more energy and there's 50 more cards, it gains 11k and critical. So it's mirroring the Gohan, but you're going to gain critical instead of double strike. Again, I found it weird for the same reasons. You got Trunks Catastrophic Premonition. If your leader card is a Black Sand card, when this card is sent to your drop area from your warp by skill, place this card at the bottom of your deck, so very same. And then this one, if your activate main, if your leader card is a Black Sand card, you can choose this card from your drop area, send this card from the drop area to your warp, and you choose one of your Black Unison cards and place it in the owner's drop area. Choose up to one of your opponent's cards with an energy cost of 4 or less and send it to the owner's warp, and then you can activate this skill for the rest of the turn. Still kind of funky. Yes, again, I guess it depends on how much you want to put your unisons to the grave. But now we're going to start seeing the payoff cards. SS3 Gogeta Marvelous Might. Union Fusion, it's got Barrier, that's always a good thing. Union Fusion, if your leader card is a Black Sand and only, and the only card your opponent, Black Sand only card. So it can't be like Black Sand and Evil Wizard or something like that. It has to be a Black Sand card. And your opponent has 2 or more energy, Sun, Goku, Xeno, and Vegeta Xeno, okay? Now the permanent is that you can choose battle cards in your warp when choosing which cards to use for this card's union skill. So this is where the warping top 5 comes into play. You are not warping from your hand, which means that when you union fuse, you're going to be getting rid of this one card and then drawing a card. So it's going to be a break even from the skill. Activate main Black. Place this card at the bottom of your deck and play up to 1 Sun Goku Xeno card with an injury cost of 1 and 1 Sun Vegito card with an injury cost of 1 from your drop area warp. Okay, so you can put them into your drop area by union fusing, draw a card, and then you can also pay another Black to bring back the one-shots. It's got Barrier, so it may actually survive on the field for a turn. The weird part about this guy though is he's 20k, so I mean you put him on the field, you swing with him, you recycle him for his pieces. This card doesn't really do too much. It really doesn't. It doesn't even have a come into play effect. It just comes on the board for 20k, and then I'm not the largest fan of this so far because I don't see the payoff. Then we're gonna go to Gogeta Fearless Fusion. Let's actually wait. If we go back up, your opponent has to have 2 or more energy, so you can even play this on turn 1. Like you need to play it on turn 2, and limits like those are kind of weird. But like you have limits like Broly, the top of the Broly BR chain from set 11. Your opponent has to be at 3 energy, you have to be at 4, but that card helps close the game. This card doesn't do anything, so, Gogeta Fearless Fusion. Blocker, and this guy's Black. Just 1 Black to union fuse, doesn't have a requirement like that, so same. And he's got the same permanent, so you fuse from your warp. And then auto, when this card is played, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with an injury cost of 4 or less, ignoring Barrier and send it to the owner's warp. Okay, this is a really good effect, but I wish it said 6 or less, because we're cheating out a lot of cards lately, and none of them are really low cost 4. You can play cost 4s in this format depending on your color. What you can't do is, or what you are not doing, is really cheating into play 4 costs for the most part. You got a whole lot of 6s, some 5s. I mean, this gets rid of Sin. That's nice, but I don't know, man. This kind of hurts me a little bit. There's just not a lot of payoff. So far, these are the 2 only cards of the Gogeta deck that are the fusions, and there's nothing that sits here and goes, wow, that threatens game, or wow, that pushes momentum. These are both kind of very mid cards, so we'll see about it. Now you've got Gohank's Marvelous Might. Now this card already looks more interesting. One, because Gohan's in it. Two, because I saw critical. This guy costs 2 though, so that's gonna be a little, a little late. 20k critical though. Activate main 2. If your leader card is a black sand card and you send 1 Gohan Zeno and 1 Trunks Zeno from your drop area to your warp, play this card from your hand. And then this says activate main. If you have a black unison in play, place it into its owner's drop area, then choose 1 Sun Gohan with an energy cost of 1 and 1 Trunks energy cost of 1 from your deck or drop area, so you can play them, okay, and then shuffle your deck. So this guy can get played for 2, swing for 20k critical, and then bring back your 1-drops. Neato. But then you have Gohank's Master Student Unison. Kind of weird that none of these guys are Super Saiyan. No, both Gohank's cards are not Super Saiyan. Anywho, when this card is played, draw 1 card. That's neat. So if you're playing the Gohank's leader, wow. If you're playing the Gogeta leader from this set, you were going to actually get 2 cards. If you don't have a unison card in play, play 1 black unison card with no specified cost. Okay, and 15k power from your drop area with a marker on it. You can't play copies of this card for turn. This is the card that kind of holds it together. You can play this card for 1 energy, and if you've milled a unison card, you can just bring it back. That's good. Activate main 1 if your leader card is black. Yep, this is it. So these are the end of the fusion cards. So we're gonna get to the next cards later, but this is kind of a funny thing for me because when it comes to Gogeta, you want to use him in his own deck. He fuses from the warp, so you're gonna want that top 5 warp to fuse. Now these guys though, the Gohan and Trunks require you to have 15 or more cards in your grave, you know? Gohank's, both of them, they fuse from your drop and they warp the materials. So actually, hot take, unless we're missing a leader that they're gonna release in maybe the pre-release event or in a promo box, Gohank's is better actually played in Veginx. Gohank's is 100% a better engine in Veginx because Veginx will fill up the graveyard, put these guys in there for you to do these things, mill your unisons for you to bring them back. So I found it very interesting that the Gohank's line is better played in Veginx, whereas the Gogeta line is played in the leader set here. If you agree with that, let me know. If you don't, let me know. I'd love to have a discussion in the forum. Moving on, we got one of my favorite cards here, Dark Mask King, Devilish Dominator. Deflect and Triple Strike, that's always crazy to see on 1 card. Auto once per turn, when this card attacks, send up to 2 battle cards from your opponent's drop area to their warp. If your opponent has 10 or more cards in their warp, switch this card to active mode. So you can potentially swing twice. So potentially Deflect, Triple Strike, dual attack. That's nasty. Auto once per turn, if your opponent activates a counter card during a battle with this card, or counter skill with during a battle with this card, send 1 card in your opponent's life to the warp. That is crazy. So automatically this card is pretty much forcing your opponent to go in and combo against it. Now granted, it's only 25 because it'd be broken if not, but it is forcing the action to your opponent. They're going to have to use their cards to combo out of this because nobody just wants to take life. And then that just is how it is. Take life and have them potentially stand back up depending on the warp count. Activate main 4. If your leader card is black and your opponent has 3 or more cards in their warp, play this card from your hand. So 4 energy is a whole lot, but this is not going to be hard to pull off by any means. 3 cards in warp is nothing with what these decks are doing. Toa, Dimensional Convoker. Auto, when this card is played, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to 1 black Evil Wizard, Demon Race, or Demon God card amongst them from your hand, shuffle your deck. So this searches out all the Toas, this searches out I believe the mirrors too. This searches out all the Mechagaboras. This is good. Once per turn, activate main 1. If your leader card is black, play up to 1 skill as Demon God card with 15,000 power or less from your deck or drop area, and then shuffle your deck. You can activate this main on skill and copies this card for the turn. So it's gonna fish those vanillas that we showed in the preview. You got Chain Attack Gravy. Auto once per turn. If your leader card is black, Demon Race card and it's your turn, when you use a black Evil Wizard, Demon Race, Demon Realm Race, or Demon God card in your combo, draw 1 card. Okay, alright. That's a cool card to have on board because you can play this dude and then with a couple cards in here, and then you can just have this happen. I dig that. Little replenishing. When this card is removed from the battle area by your opponent's skill, send up to 1 battle card from your opponent's drop area to their warp. Alright, feeding the archetype. When this card is removed from your battle area, yep, you do the same thing, and then activate battle once per turn. If your leader card is a black Demon Realm Race, and it's your turn. Up to 1 black evil, wizard, demon realm race, or demon god card in your combo area gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. We dig that. It's just turning something into a super combo. Mechagabora, the King's Summons. Activate main 2. If your leader card is a black demon realm race, you may place this card from your hand and one other card in your life to your drop area. Send one battle card from your opponent's drop area to the warp, and then play up to 2 black battle cards with evil, wizard, and or demon race with energy cost of 2 and different character names that aren't Mechagabora cards from your deck, then shuffle your deck. And you can't activate main on the copies this turn. So this is kind of cool. 2 energy and life, and he's going to fish 2 cards out from the deck. So it's Self-Awakening, it's a massive play, and it searches from deck to help Den. This card is actually a gem. I think it's worthy of the SR spot, and it'll only get better as we get more cards to play it with. Enough said. Shroom, new demon god. So there's the vanillas that happen. I think you're gonna see vanilla here. Like, yeah, Shroom and Salsa both have vanillas, and they both have 5 drops that pretty much get evolved for 1. Auto, when this card attacks, send up to 1 battle card from your opponent's drop area to the warp, and if there are no battle cards, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and send it to the owner's warp instead. Hot. Activate main 1, choose 1 of your black skillless battle cards, energy cost of 2 or 3, return to the owner's hand, play this card from your hand. So playing those skillless cards with Toa will allow you to cheat out Shroom and Salsa. This is just as 15k common. And you've got this one, which is Salsa, a new demon god. When this card attacks, send up to 1 battle card from your opponent's drop area to the warp, and if there are no battle cards in your opponent's drop area, choose up to 1 evil, wizard, or demon race or demon god card, energy cost of 2 or less from your hand or drop, and play it. The fact that he comes out the same way, you can bounce a 2-drop to your hand, skillless, swing with this guy, bring it back out, and then do it again. So this guy can open up a lot of combos, and I will see him being pretty much essential in this deck if you play it. And you got the vanilla Salsa. Now the last 2 cards, 3 cards actually. You got Temptation of the Mask. Activate main. If your leader card is a black sand only card, and you place 1 black Bardock Xeno, King Vegeta Xeno, Vegeta Xeno, or Broly from your drop area to the top of your deck, at the end of the turn, play up to 1 dark Broly card or up to 1 black battle card with an energy cost of 4 or less and masked in his character name, and then shuffle your deck. So this will work with the Dark Broly, the 2-drop that just came out in the Toa Expert deck. Other than that, most of the Dark Brolys are 6, so it's not going to really work on those. But there's a couple of Bardock Xenos, there's a couple of Vegeta Xenos. It's going to actually, there's a couple cards that you can use for this. Now, we're getting our first mass sand card, so it's really cool that you can see these King Vegeta Xenos in here. We will probably be able to see more of that later, just not now. I'm sure they're going to come up with more cards, whether it's in the TP set, whether it's in the next set, because there's a 4 set for this block. But we're going to see more of this. But it's interesting because it's going to fish you out a masked card, and there's a plethora of masked cards to use. Then you got Dark King's Flash, aka Silver Bullet for Sin Shinron. Counterattack, negate the attack, and if your opponent has 5 more energy, your opponent can't play battle cards using the leader skill for the end of their turn. I don't know why they would print a Silver Bullet like this just as Shadow Dragons comes into its full might, and not even require this to be a black leader. This is just anybody can side this card in, and then just wait for Sin Shinron to get up to a high enough level and swing. Wild. Lastly, you got Explosive Barrage Slash. Counterattack, if the leader card is a black sand card, negate the attack, and if you don't have a unison card in play, play 1 black unison with no special cost and 15,000 power from your drop area or warp with a marker on it. I like this. Chances are if you use this card in the wrong part of the turn, they'll just swing on your unison for game. So it's actually going to be really cool for when you know your opponent's out of swings and you just pop this guy, put your unison back online, and know that you can start him up. So this video is almost 30 minutes long. I hope you guys liked it. I just wanted to go over the black cards real quick and try to give my thoughts on each one. Talk about the leaders. I might do some black lists for it. Honestly, it's gonna be a real big stretch to hit a list for the Gogeta because it's kind of weak. It's very weak, and lots of the plays require your opponent to trigger them, and then its payoffs are weak. Whereas the Gohang's deck has better, but it's to be played, so far its best list looks like it's going to be in Veginx, and I'm not sure if it is even worth changing the already proven formula. But we'll see. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see me try to make decks with these for the channel, and if you guys want it, I'll definitely put it out. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you guys liked the content. If you did, think about hitting that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time you decide to join Universe X. Later.